Memory coin statue prototype. So the inspirations for this prototype come from four different sources. Some may be familiar, such as Nintendo Amiibos and Skylanders, which are kind of these figures that when you scan them, they would when you scan them, they would come to life in like a game or on the screen. So it was kind of a way of like storing information within like a figure. And then also the inspiration was kind of like coin collecting because the concept is to have different coins, so different coins or figures represent different memories, and when you go to access these memories, they can be in sort of like a storage system that can be modified and personalized depending on who's viewing what. The goal around this prototype are to give a place for someone to store images and videos from their past memories. You can also be able to give access to those who only that you only want to see this the memories or information. It's also for memory preservation and collection, since physical images have a chance to go missing, get ripped, or possibly burn in a house fire. And once these are digitalized and stored, they're basically going to be there for as long as the server is active. And then finally, for memory personalization, that way a person can like add details to the memory and be able to come back to them if they're looking back at these pictures, say decades from the point that they add them. One example use of this prototype is in situation of a grandmother who may not be too technically um, found, has a smartphone, doesn't really take a lot of pictures with it, knows how to do basic things like call text and occasionally take a photo. Let's say she has a whole bunch of picture books, right? And at some point, house burns down or something happens, the pictures are destroyed. Well, she would initially be distraught because she's lost hundreds, possibly thousands of images of pictures, possibly from like her childhood and stuff. But then she remembers that her grandson recently came and started digitizing all of her photos into a personalized server that she can access using these coins, which is the prototype. And she remembers that all she has to do is find the coin she wants, turn it over, take a picture of it on with her smartphone, and it will pull up the server with the images from that specific memory so she has access to it. So the physical prototype has three parts. Two parts are main, one part is optional. The bottom of the coin basically has a QR code that is stamped onto it. The QR code is what's going to be used to access the server page with that specific memory. Then the top of the coin will be stamped with the memory title or the memory's number and its title. For example, day at the zoo, memory number, say 2716. And then at the bottom, it would have the date stamped. And then the center would be like a hole where a figure can be input on top. The figure is optional, but it's a way to physically represent the memory. So, for example, if you go to a baseball game, then you may have a figure of a baseball on top of this coin. And so the coin itself is going to be pretty thick. It is bigger than like a quarter, maybe as could be as big as like a $half in a sense, and it will be thick because it does have to be thick enough to handle the two being stamped on both sides, as well as to be able to be deep enough so that a figure could be inserted into the slot and kept in place. And then as for the figures, they they're how big they can be simply depends on where it's placed and the weight. So figures can be quite a bit tall compared to the coin, but they can't be necessarily massive. And they can kind of represent anything from that memory. And now for the digital component, here is a QR code for Here's a QR code, for example. This QR code would be on the the bottom of the coin. And of course, if you scan it, it'll take you to the page with said memory. So once you have scanned the QR code, say if you're on a laptop and you scan it that way, it'll take you to a page like this. This is an example page from a memory of mine from some years ago. As you can see, the title has the person's name, their memory collection, and that specific memory's name. On the left, there is the memory code, the memory title, the date the memory took place, and the location that the memory took place. And on the right side, there's a general description of the memory. This can be of any length, and it's usually done by the person who is putting the page together. Then, if we go down, we see we have some categories of some of the pictures taken. One category being dinos for dinosaurs and birds for birds. So if we click on the dinos, it takes us to this page, which has the pictures of the dinosaurs that were taken. See the titles dinos, and we have a description of the pictures that can be found here. And we have a T-Rex and other dinos. It would also be possible to add details to each picture. So as you click on the picture, it can be able to get bigger, and then you can see whatever notes are written for said picture or video. If we go ahead and click return, we can go back to the home page and go to the birds page where it's basically set up the same way, minus the changing colors. And you have the same thing here. The pages are completely customizable to whoever is creating the server, and will be able to make it so that only those with the QR code will have access to this page.